What is up, everybody? Razor here, and this is my aim guide to Valorant. If you're wondering how to get better aim in Valorant, here is 4 tips on how to do so. Starting with tip number 1, don't use the default crosshair. Default crosshair is terrible. It's way too big. It makes you not very accurate. It's better to have a crosshair that is a little bit smaller. Now, if you don't know what crosshair to pick, there's a website online that I will link down in the description below that will help you find a crosshair that you like. They have lots of different crosshairs to choose from. They have some that are a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, have different designs. Please never use this. I see this in my games way too much and I don't like it. They have different pros crosshairs like Tarek, Nothing, and Dapper, and many other crosshairs of pros you may like. Okay, now that you got your default crosshair, let's move on to step number 2, which is crosshair placement. Crosshair placement is so important in this game because the time to kill is very short. You want to try to get headshots, body shots, avoid hitting the legs at all costs. So what's important about crosshair placement is, like, we want to hold points where our crosshair is at head level. We don't want to run around a corner like this, aim at the ground, Swiffer sweeping. We would rather hold at a corner like this, kind of where head level might be. And if we were going to push this corner, inch through, checking all the positions where an enemy may be, and just being ready to fire and making sure we are not moving when we are firing. Now, little tip and secret of Valorant that a Valorant dev released is some of these boxes are head level, and I will now show you the video of where he talks about map design and kind of the secret aim trick in Valorant.
Some might even say it's going to build a super grid, and you can configure this, but by default each of these little blocks is 10 centimeters. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The big squares are 100 centimeters. The small squares are 10 centimeters. And this is super useful because, like, let's say you're building a competitive shooter. And let's say in that competitive shooter, you know that every character is exactly 200 centimeters tall. And you want to place things around your level that are, say, exactly head height. You see where I'm going with this, chat?
Cool, right? Now, what does that say about Valorant? So that tells us that things like this are head height. Like this box here would be considered head height. These lines most likely be considered head height. So knowing this, it kind of helps us with our aiming and our placement to place our crosshair where the enemy's head would be. Now, this tip actually really helped me a lot with my aiming because I used to aim way too low. I used to aim lower, like maybe body or leg height, and this really hurt me. So aiming higher definitely helps. You should try it. I think it will definitely help you in your Valorant games. Now, let's move on to tip number 3, which is flick and sensitivity. Now, I know what you're thinking. Flick and sensitivity is 2 different things, and yes, they are, but they kind of go together because without having the right sensitivity, you won't be able to feel the weight of your mouse. You won't be able to flick properly. So first, you want to get the best sensitivity that suits you. This is my aim sensitivity. This may or may not work for you. You could use it as a starting point. Try to go up or down from there to really see how your mouse feels, how your sensitivity feels, and really feel like you have control over your agent and over your aim. You may be wondering, how do I find the right sensitivity for me? Well, since it is different for every person, there is a link to a video that I will include in the description down below that may help you find your sensitivity. Check that out. Now moving on to the next part of this, which is flicking. Now, big part to Valorant is flicking. How fast can you flick to your target? How accurately can you flick to your target? So with that, we need to learn flicking. Okay, there are two points of flicking, which is your wrist movement and your arm movement. So your wrist movement is generally the flicking that you usually use, right? So we need to learn this movement a lot and get feeling of this movement. I know with my sensitivity, my range of movement, I can comfortably move from here to about here. So this is my range of motion. This is where I have my most control. This is where I am able to, go back and forth, pretty relatively comfortable, but to be able to flick with my arm, I know I have about this range of motion and this range of motion, right? I'm moving my elbow as my center point to these two places. So how do we use that to learn flicking? So what I do is I put a bullet right here, and a bullet right here. And what you can do is you can flick back and forth these. You can go from here to here. Really just trying to get these bullets in the same area, you get feeling of that movement. Now, second thing that really helped me a lot was the bots. So if you put your crosshair in the middle, you can learn to flick to the, wow, that's embarrassing. You learn to flick to the target. Keep your crosshair in the middle and flick from left to right on easy mode. Just trying to get headshots. Don't try to do anything else. Now, this may take some time to getting used to, as well as the crosshair placement. I think the best players know the feeling, know where to put their crosshair without even thinking about it. These shouldn't be things that you should think about in game. You shouldn't be thinking about your flicking. You shouldn't be trying to calculate, okay, if I move this much, this is where this goes, or this much, this is where this goes. This should be mindless. This should just be something that you should be able to do without even thinking about it. Same with crosshair placement. You don't want to be thinking about crosshair placement when you're playing the game because it's going to distract you from other things like predicting where your enemy is going to go, which I can make a totally separate video about game sense. For now, as far as aim goes, if you learn these things, if you learn how to do these things mindlessly, I think it'll really improve your game. All right, now let's move on to our fourth and final tip, which is when to spray and when to burst fire. You should only be spraying when you're probably about from here to there. That should generally be your range of which you spray in. Anything further, you're going to be very inaccurate. Like if I'm standing here and there's someone all the way down there on that wall, it's going to be very hard for me to just control my spray pattern and really be accurate. So what is burst firing and how do we do it? Burst firing is basically when we just fire one bullet, which we are very accurate with. When you're spraying in Valorant, your first 3 bullets are your most accurate. So knowing that, when we are this far away, we want to shoot, move a little bit, shoot, move a little bit, shoot, move a little bit, shoot. That way we are moving, we are hard to hit, and we are chipping away at our target's health. Now, what you seen I just did, that is what not to do. So, moving and firing, you see how inaccurate you are. So you want to make sure when you fire your bullet, you move your stop, you shoot again. Move, stop, shoot again. You don't want to be doing that too quickly, like moving like that. That is not accurate. You most likely won't win your gunfight. So make sure that you are stopped when you're moving. Obviously spraying, you want to be able to be most accurate with your spraying. So learn the spray patterns. Spray pattern is generally a upside down 7 for the Vandal. So if you learn that, you learn how to control that. That'll really help you as well. But yeah, I'm going to end this video off with a little tip with the Marshall that I seen on TikTok.
How to always headshot the guy peeking window.
If you line up that bottom part of the Marshall with the ground, that's headshot level. Like in this angle, like if headshot is like, this is their leg, right? This is the ground, this is headshot. See, because their leg would be here.
Pretty cool, right? Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. There.
One enemy remaining. Spike down A.
She doesn't need help. Let's go.
Razerkatt with the first ace here in VCT.